Welcome to the first ever Beginner Photography Podcast live episode.
Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the Beginner Photography Podcast, a weekly podcast for those who believe that moments matter most and that a beautiful photo is more than just a sum of its settings. A show for those who want to do more with the gear they have to take better photos today. And now, your host, Raymond Hatfield.
There we go. There's always some sort of button issue right there as things go live. Welcome to this episode. This is a very special night of the Beginner Photography Podcast, as this is the 200th episode and we are live. If you are on Facebook, I want to take a moment just to say thank you. I want to start off by thanking everybody here who's watching right now on Facebook Live. This is very exciting, as well as everybody who could be watching or listening in the future, as this episode is going to be, downloaded. The audio is going to be taken out, and then this is going to be live. This is going to be live. So if you're listening and there are some flubs, that's what happens. That's what happens. So I want to start off by saying that since January of 2016, the Beginner Photography Podcast has brought weekly interviews from some of the world's best photographers. Now, today, as we reach a milestone that many other podcasts fail to, there is just one person to thank for the Beginner Photography Podcast's success, and that is you. That is you. So if you are here, let me know by leaving a comment. I've been seeing all these comments are going bananas right now. Everybody, thank you so much for the congrats on the 200th. But this is all for you. This is all for you. So tonight is about you and showing just my appreciation and my gratitude for helping the podcast reach this historic milestone. I'm so excited. So tonight, as I said, is all about you, but we are going to be hearing from you as well as other listeners. We are going to be hearing from some special guests, which I'm excited about. I'm always excited. I'm just always excited. I'm an excited person. And then we are also going to be playing a game of photography trivia where you will be able to join in and answer questions and win some prizes. So let's start off. Let's see. We got Rita's here. Rita, hey Rita. We got Isabel, Jim, Laura, Ann, Susan, Mara, Magda. Kim is watching. Jeremy, Susan. Let's see. Amy. I know we got some more up here. Gary, Joel, Patty. Oh my gosh, so many great faces that I know have been with the podcast for a while, and this is just so exciting. So with that, again, I just want to say thank you. Let's go ahead and get into this episode of the podcast. So, as I said earlier, the podcast has been publishing weekly interviews since January of 2016. Now, the podcast was started, some of you know this, simply as a way for me to talk to photographers that were just better than myself, which honestly is just about every other photographer out there. And I wanted to use their knowledge and skills that they share as a way to learn more about photography. It is important to always be a student of whatever it is that you're passionate about. And when it comes to photography, I could talk about it all day. So being able to talk to other professionals, and find out how it is that they see the world is why the podcast has started. And then along the way, something great happened, and that is that you started showing up. You started listening to these conversations. And then once the Facebook group was created, I was just simply amazed at how many of you actually showed up. Now, before the Facebook group, there would always be podcast download numbers, and the numbers would imply that people were listening. But after you joined the Facebook group, you stopped being numbers and you became Michael, you became Carrie, you became Jason, Holly, Joel, Mara, Jim, Kara, Kurt, Fabiola, and Sean, not to be confused with Steven, and so many others. And you became more than listeners. you became my friends. And this was something that I never expected from the beginning. Now, there has been some hard times. I will admit there has been times where I thought about legitimately stopping the podcast. As a one-man operation, it takes a ton of work and it takes a ton of money as well. You know, to be able to run this, deal with the logistics of getting people to confirm and doing the interviews and editing interviews and publishing interviews and doing show notes and transcribing episodes. And then on top of that, the Facebook group, all of these things, which of course, Kimberly is the moderator. She's been extremely helpful. All of these things have really helped out. But as I said, there has been times where it's been rough and I've wanted to just, or I've thought about, maybe I haven't wanted to, but I've thought about just calling it quits. But having made friends like you along the way has stopped me, you know, because it made me realize that stopping the podcast was just simply not an option. It's not an option. So right now, I want to take a moment to thank you, the listeners.
Hey, Raymond. It's Mike Madero. I guess what I like about photography is just finding something new and as I mentioned before, it's capturing moments. You know, you miss a bunch as a beginner, but when you do catch one and you know which ones are special, it's, you know, it's always kind of gratifying to kind of, you know, catch, you know, the magic of the moment.
Hi, I'm Valerie from Northern Virginia, and what I love most about photography is just being able to capture the natural, authentic, and just genuine connections and love between family. I do family and child photography, and that's my absolute favorite thing, is just to capture those special moments for families and give them memories that will last forever for them.
Hey Raymond, I'm Mike Greenwald from Manassas, Virginia, the Northern Virginia area right outside DC, and photography for me was the start initially to keep track of my travels and to see what I could do with the landscapes, put them into art. And then it kind of grew from there when I worked with the dogs to capture their craziness, because when you work with 30 or something dogs, you're bound to get some gold once in a while. Then turned into wildlife, and to feel my passion to actually work with animals, and then to more sensual things to work with actual people, but that I'm still working on that. And I also do a lot of conventions, so carrying the camera definitely helps.
Hi Raymond, my name is John Rogers. I'm from Deep East Texas, about an hour north of Houston. What I love about photography is its ability to tell a story. I can do a product shoot for myself to get that practice in and tell the story of the product in question. I can shoot a picture of a flower that tells a story of its birth or its death. I can shoot the circle of life, such as mating insects or a dragonfly catching its lunch. The photograph tells a story, but it is different for everyone.
Hey, I'm Dustin. I'm from upstate New York. And there's a couple of reasons I love photography. So one would be how relaxing it is for me. I enjoy every aspect of it, and it's just very relaxing. The second reason I love it is that one photo can mean so much to one person and something completely different to another person, but touch them just the same. So that's another reason. And the third reason is the joy you see when you take a photo and that photo goes on someone's wall for the next 20 years. And 20 years from now, they're still happy about it.
Hi, I'm Seema. I'm based in Aberdeen in Scotland, UK. And the reason why I love photography so much is because it's such a great way of capturing memories of places that I've travelled to, and also of where I live and of my family and other loved ones. And I also hope to become a professional photographer in the near future, doing portraiture, but also cityscapes and landscapes. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Magda. I'm from New Jersey. I love photography because I love capturing the moments of our daily life with my kids as they grow up. My kids are 2 and 4, so it's great to watch them grow through the pictures and look back and get them excited about photography also. And I love to see that I can be creative and develop that creativity. And it's just fun, and it's awesome to connect with people who have this same passion.
Greetings, Raymond. It's Joel Mackey from beautiful, cold and rainy Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Just checking in here with you. Wanted to let you know I got back into photography here a couple years ago when my kids were in high school playing high school sports, and really fell in love with sports photography. And since we've been in this lockdown, I've been doing a little bit of playing around with different things, some still life and some landscape stuff, but I'm really missing being out in those sports fields taking pictures. Hope this helps. Thanks.
Hi, I'm TJ. I'm from South Florida, and I've always enjoyed photography. I wanted to be a photojournalist when I was in high school and college. Derailed myself, left everything photographic behind for quite a long time, and now I'm just picking it all back up in the digital age, so that's why I'm here. Thank you so much for all you do.
My name is Susan, and I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I love the creativity part of photography as well as the technical. My favorite part about photography, though, is documenting. I got into it to document my own life and my children's lives, but also now I love helping other people document theirs as well.
Hey Raymond, Jeremy Iman here. I love photography so much because it's not only passionate about art, but it connects me with others. I love to engage with others, empower them, whether that be taking their picture, documenting their life's moments of every day, or empowering them to go out and take pictures on their own, as well as how it connects for someone that is struggling with any kind of situation in life. It brings out that healing property in them. Photography, me, I'm very passionate. One, to connect, to engage, to empower, and it brings joy. That's why. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Carrie Norris, and I'm from very, very north Indiana, right by the Michigan border. I love photography because I love capturing real, raw interactions between people. I want to try to capture what's beautiful and hopefully help other people see how beautiful they are and just being real. I learned manual mode from the Beginner Photography podcast. That's how I learned it. And now I've been shooting for like 3 years or 4, and now I'm a senior photographer and a family photographer in my area. Mostly seniors, and like I do some theater and show choir. So what Raymond has taught me in the Beginner Photography Podcast Premium Group is how to value my own time. As a mom of 5 kids, I want to make sure I'm charging for a senior session what I think is going to be worth the time I spend away from my children and my husband while I'm editing that session. So it's taken me a while to get there. It's taken some real encouragement and Raymond patiently asking those questions again and again, but he's right. And I've been able to up my prices. So now when I'm editing a senior session, I don't resent the time that I'm away from my kids because I'm charging what I think I'm worth, or closer to it at least. So thank you, Raymond. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on 200 episodes.
Hey Raymond, Jim from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's Norman Rockwell from New York. What I like about photography is that we're doing something that's not going to ever be duplicated. Nobody's going to take the exact same picture at the same time. We get the chance to really slow things down and just enjoy what we're doing and take a different look at things.
Hey guys, this is Kim. And one thing I've learned about the business of photography is that not every client is my ideal client. And as much as I would love to shoot everything for everybody all the time, sometimes there's just not going to be a great fit. And so I've actually had to turn some clients down lately, and that has been eye-opening because I was concerned that I would be losing some business. However, I have not lost business, and my business is continuing to grow because I am staying truer to myself and sticking with a lot of referrals rather than just reaching out for anybody and everybody. So I hope that helps. Have a great day.
Hi and good morning. I just wanted to share with you my biggest takeaway about owning a photo business, and that is communication. Communication on both sides, from actually the client as well as on my end. I used to just be happy to photograph a client in general, that I didn't ask a lot of questions. But it is very important to find out why they want a photo session, what they expect, as well as you tell them what you're expecting to make sure the two line up. You will feel much more fulfilled as a photographer if that happens. And I just found that to be my big takeaway. And I'm still actually working on that as my business goes on. But communication is key, communicating on both ways and being very upfront about what you're looking for in a person. And it's okay to say no at times if they don't fit what you're looking for. All right, guys. Thank you.
Hey Raymond, I am daily reminded by both the podcast listening and when I get on Facebook and see your different messages to push myself just a little further than my thought process already is. So things I've learned or things I want to try, there's always something a little more to delve into, and you're really encouraging at that. Whenever I've posted something, you always make me think just one step beyond what I've already thought through. And there have been so many awesome people on the podcast that have really helped push my thought process on what I could do more of to make my business successful. And with the different encouragement I have found through the group and through the different podcasts, I've opened my own studio recently, and just trying to get that to take off. And I've been able to kind of broaden some of my horizons that I wasn't sure was possible, and I'm making things happen slowly but surely. Thanks so much for all you do, and excited for your 200th episode.
Oh my gosh. I did not watch any of those until right now. And I have to say, that was incredible. That was so cool to see all of you. Oh my gosh. You know what I love about all of this, which is that we are all different people. We all like different things. We all live in different places. We're just different human beings, right? And yet we have one thing that connects all of us, at least one thing that connects all of us. And that is our, love of photography, and being able to see each and every one of you who graciously provided your time and sent me that video. I just have to say, thank you. You have found your spot on the internet, on this big old world wide web, and it is a wide web. So thank you for making it feel just a little bit smaller. Oh man, I might have got choked up there a little bit early on. Oh, I hope that you really resonated with something there. If you're listening, I hope that you really resonated with something. If you did, leave a comment. Tell me what it was that you resonated with the most. I mean, there was 11 minutes worth of content right there of you sharing what it is that you love about photography. That was fantastic. So leave a comment if one of those things, if you were thinking, that's me, I feel the exact same way. Let everybody know, because I promise you, they're going to want to know. Another group member is going to want to know, because if they felt it, you felt it too. So there you go. I really hope that after watching that, you really realize that you are not alone. There are so many other photographers in a situation that might be similar to yours, and they might have the same questions as you do, who also want to achieve the same things as you. And that is why I love the internet. That is why I love that you have all come together in this group to create something that has just truly brought to light the importance of community and just creating a place to learn together. So again, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that. That was great. Now, let's take a little break from the, from the heart-wrenching stuff. Right now, we are going to have some fun. As I mentioned, let me actually turn down the brightness of my screen a little bit. I got the glare. As I mentioned, I think yesterday and in some emails out, we are going to be playing some games today, right? So I mentioned at the beginning that we are going to be playing photography trivia, and we are also going to be giving away some prizes. So if you're ready for this, I hope that you've been studying your photography encyclopedia, because all these questions are real doozies. But if you're ready, let me know. Leave a comment below. Say, I'm ready for this. We're gonna go, because the only way that you can win something is if you participate. That's the only way that this works. So again, leave a comment. Let me know that you're ready to go. And if you're in your car or you're at the gym or you're at work listening, you better get ready with a pen and a paper to write down your answers, because we are going to get into it. So here's how this whole thing is going to work, okay? Remember, you actually have to participate in order to win a prize. So the way that this is going to work is that I have already pre-recorded some videos with questions. So in the videos, I will ask a question with a selection of answers, and the first person that I see in the comments, let's see, I'll show you right here. I got, just in the Facebook app, we got a bunch of comments going on right there. So the first person who I see, or the person who gives the correct answer first that I see, will be the winner. So in order to submit your answer, the answers will be either A, B, C, or D. All that you have to do is just press on your keyboard A or B or C or D, whatever the right answer is. All right? Now let's talk about prizes. I mentioned prizes, giving away stuff. All right? So first of all, there will be several questions, but I'm going to be giving away some fun stuff. So the first thing that I'll be giving away is the first 4 questions I will be giving away. I will be mailing to you my Conquer Your Camera field guide right here, which is just full of information, some settings, ideas, compositional rules, guidelines. It has a little handy keychain that you can attach to your camera bag or your camera strap and just take it with you wherever you go. You know, oftentimes in the beginning, I remember while learning photography, it was hard to learn something and then actually go out and then remember what it was that you learned. Those are 2 completely different things. So I wanted to put together these cards right here in order for you to never be alone, right? If you had questions about composition, settings, lighting, hopefully those, you'll be able to just grab this, your Conquer Your Camera field guide, and then be ready to go. So that will be the first 4 prizes, all right? That will be for the first 4 questions. Next, I am giving away 2 64 gigabyte Elite Performance SD cards. These are the exact same cards that I use in as my JPEG backups in my cameras. They're rock solid. They work great. 64 gigs is enough for actually, I don't know, a ton of photos. It's enough for a ton of photos. And then lastly, I'm going to be giving away a copy of Mark Silber's book Create, because this book, I think, is more important to beginner photographers than you could possibly imagine. We often think that being creative, you have to be born with it, or you know, it just has to be in you. It has to be native. It has to be in your DNA. But this book really breaks down that is just simply not the case, and that you can be creative every single day. All right, so that is those are the prizes. So, as I said, I'm going to play a video. You're going to submit your answer, and then if I call out your name for winning, then just shoot me a message. Let me know what you won, and I will get your address and send it on out. And also, I think Kimberly got my my message. Hopefully, she can help by just writing down names and prizes, as well as I don't have a pen around me. Go figure. And I don't want to. Oh, look at that! I have a 3-year-old knocking on my door. So hopefully that's that. Let's get into these questions. So as I said, just if you win, if I call out your name for winning, just shoot me a message. Let me know, your name and what it was that you won. I'll get your address, and then I will mail these out to you. So with that, let's see who's ready to play. Let's see. So we got, oh man, everybody. Susan, Kim's ready. Jim, Carrie, Mara, Steven, just a bunch of y'all are ready to go. So Bree is ready to go. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get on into this. And remember, I guess not remember, but you can only, each person can only win once. So if you were like lightning fast with those fingers and you win every single time, I'm sorry, you're only going to win the first one that you win. So with that, let us get ready on that keyboard, because we're going to get into this first question right now. The exposure triangle is made up of what 3 elements? Earth, wind, and fire, snap, crackle, and pop, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, or exotic locations, influencers, and sunsets. I'll wait. If you said C, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, you are correct. How much fun was that? And the winner was Juanita. Juanita, congratulations. You have just won yourself a set of Conquer Your Camera, my Conquer Your Camera field guide. As I said, shoot me a message with your name, obviously what you won, and then I'll get your address after this is all over, and then I will send these out this week, so on Monday. So again, Juanita, congratulations. Now you all get an idea of how this works. Mara said B, close, but yeah. All right, so that was C. So that was question number 1. We got 1 question down. Let's go ahead and get on into question number 2. Approximately how many photos were taken in 2017? Was it 900 million? 32 billion, 500 billion, or 1.2 trillion photos? The answer is 1.2 trillion photos. And according to scientists, that number is going up by 9% every single year. And Jim, you won. The answer was D, 1.2 trillion photos. So Jim, congratulations on that. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you won, what your prize was. And as I said, I will go ahead and send that out. This is fun. I'm not going to stop. We're going to get into question 3 right now. Here we go. Get ready. What affects how out of focus your background is? Is it your distance from your subject, how much light is available, if you're using a Sony or not, or simply by shooting in manual? If you said A, the distance from your lens to your subject, you are correct. The closer that your subject is to the lens, the more out of focus the background goes. And there you go. That was A. That is, the distance to your subject is what really makes your backgrounds pop. I see right here that the winner is Raphael. So Raphael, congratulations. Fantastic job. Looks like some people are saying that there's a bit of a lag. I'm not sure what to do, as I just see him pop up here. If I knew, if anybody's getting upset, I apologize. This is, as I said, this is a one-man operation. This is how this is going. So Raphael, again, congratulations on winning. Question number 3. This is the last chance to win a Conquer Your Camera field guide. Let's go ahead and get on into question 4 right now. What year was the first digital camera invented? Was it 1952, 1968, 1975, or 1979? The answer is C, 1975. Steve, Sasson worked at Kodak and invented the first digital camera in 1975. The camera weighed 8 pounds. It recorded images on a audio cassette, which I don't even have for as an example, and it recorded 0.01 megapixel images on that cassette, but the idea was scrapped by Kodak because they were scared that it was going to cut into their film sales. There we go. Now we got a little bit of an educational aspect into this live episode, so I hope that you enjoyed that. And the winner for that, the first person to pick letter C, was Anne. Anne, congratulations. You won the last Conquer Your Camera Field Guide here. Shoot me that message, and I will get that out for you on Monday. All right, we are into question number 5, and this is where the questions really get difficult here. And for question number 5 and question number 6, I will be giving away a 64 gigabyte PNY Elite Performance card. So the first person to ring in with the correct answer wins it. Let's get on into question number 5 right now. If you were trying to freeze a hummingbird's wings in flight, approximately what shutter speed would you need? Is it 1/10,000th of a second, 1/4000th of a second, 1/2000th of a second, or just 1/125th of a second? Hummingbirds are quick, I don't know. The answer is C, approximately 1/2000th of a second. The North American hummingbird can flap its wings up to 53 flaps per second. And the winner was Nick Porter. Nick, congratulations on that win right there. I am going to send you a 64 gig PNY Elite Performance card right there out on Monday. Shoot me that message and we'll go ahead and get that started. That was kind of a tough one, you know. Hummingbirds are very quick. I see a lot of C's. I see some B's, you know, 1/4000th of a second. That is super quick. If you notice, most, you know, entry-level cameras go up to, on the shutter speed, up to 1/4000th of a second, whereas most, I guess, pro-grade DSLRs go up to 1/8000th of a second. So, you know, that's not a bad guess right there. You know, it is real quick, but according to the Google, it's 1/2000th of a second. 1/2000? Is that C? Whatever C was. I believe that was 1/2000th of a second. So again, Nick, congratulations on that. Let's go ahead and get into question number 6 right now. Let's see who else can win. In the early days of photography, the late 1800s, who was most likely to own a camera? Was it A, painters, B, the very wealthy, C, influencers, or D, technical schools? The answer is A, painters. Painting obviously took a long time. If you were to go out and paint a landscape, the light, good light, only lasts for about, 20 to 30 minutes, and there's no way that you could finish a painting in that time. So painters were most likely to own a camera, as they could go out to a scene, photograph it, and then take it back to their home and paint it at their leisure. Wow! Looking at these answers, I really thought that I would stump a lot of you with that one, but you all are way smarter than myself. So congratulations. The first person to ring in with painters was our own Carrie. Carrie, congratulations. I'm going to send you off this brand new SD card on Monday, and let's go ahead and get on into question number 7 right now. What Major League Baseball team was cheated out of back-to-back World Series wins? First in 2017 by the Houston Astros, who admitted foul play, where after their World Series win, one of the team's coaches went on to become the head coach for the Boston Red Sox, who then also stole the title from this team in the 2018 World Series appearance. Was it the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, or the Los Angeles Dodgers? It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. And if you guessed the Los Angeles Dodgers, you are correct. Everybody knows that they were cheated out of their World Series win. Next question. Oh, man. Sorry, Jim. I had to. Sorry, Steven. You know, that's, it is what it is. Those are just simply the facts. I'm glad that, let's see, everybody got that one. So good job, guys. You are all fantastic at this. We're doing a great job. And just for that, I got one more special question for you. And this one's the toughest because this is the last question. And I will be giving away, the prize for this one will be Mark Silber's book, Create, which again, I will send out to you on Monday. So here we go. Last question, last chance to win. Let's go. This is the last question. It is also the hardest question, which is why I saved it for last. The question is, what camera is better? Is it a DSLR, a cell phone, film camera, or whatever camera you have on you? Trick question, the answer was GoPro. Just kidding. The answer is obviously whatever camera you have on you, because if you see something in your life and you can't take a photo of it, then that moment is gone forever. Whereas even if you have some cheap, crappy cell phone camera, if you're able to capture something, that is going to be a memory for you, and therefore the best camera is always the one that you have with you. So that was obviously a bit of a trick question. That was the only trick question. All of the other questions were not trick questions, especially that one about the Dodgers. So congratulations. That was, congratulations. Congratulations to, it was Rita. Kim rang in first, but she won no. Kim didn't ring in earlier, so therefore, I already said Rita, so it's Kim and Rita. Kim, I'm going to send you a copy of the book as well, because I just made a major flub right there. So congratulations to both of you. You just won a copy of Create by Mark Silber right here. So congrats again to you. I'll be sending those out on Monday. Kim says she's never won anything before this. Oh, okay, there we go. I see. Yeah, there looks like there is a bit of a delay. But you guys are doing fantastic. So again, congratulations. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That was my first time ever trying some sort of, trivia, I suppose. I don't know why I had such a hard time with that word. Some sort of trivia. So you all did great. I had a ton of fun. That was a blast. Let me know if any of those questions questions surprised you at all. Was there anything that you thought, wow, I had no idea? Obviously, everybody knew about the Dodgers there, but aside from that, was there any question that really got you, or that just kind of opened your eyes a little bit? I would love to know. So again, congratulations to all of the winners. I'm going to be, you guys reach out to me, and then I will be sure to get all of your information, and then we will get those prizes sorted out. So that was fun and educational. That was great. That was a ton of fun. Now, you all know that photography is so much more than just taking a photo, right? As you all answered correctly with that, well, except for Sean who said Fuji. But aside from that, everybody answered that the best camera is the one that you have on you. And that is because, as I explained, photography is just so much more than simply taking a photo. Learning the technical aspect of how to take a photo is very important, but there's also so much that simply knowing how to freeze motion or how to blur out your background just won't do for you. And there is so much about photography that honestly, as much as somebody can try, it just cannot be taught in a book. And I'll tell you, as somebody who just gave away a book, this book does not have any sort of secrets in it. It has no secrets. These are just the things that, you can be using in your everyday life to push yourself, to change the way that you do those things, right? That you do every day, right? So because learning photography has to be done through your life experiences. That is how you become a better photographer, by shooting more, by actually doing more, by looking at more photos, by trying to figure out how a photo was shot and then go out and actually try to implement that to see how it works. That is how you grow as a photographer. So this week, I actually reached out to, just like I reached out to you, many of the, you as well as many of the other listeners of the podcast. I also reached out to a lot of this year's past guests of the show, just to ask them to share a piece of wisdom that they wish that they would have received when they first started out in photography. And right now, I took all those answers, compiled them in another video, and I'm going to share that with you right now. But hold on, maybe go get a piece of paper, because there's going to be a lot of great nuggets in this piece right here. So here we go.
Hi, Raymond, and everyone at the Beginner Photography Podcast. This is a great thrill of mine. I'm so excited to talk to you today, all of you, about my big tip. Now, this big tip, I hope doesn't really be a disappointment, because it's not all that much about photography, but it's all about how we as photographers are always tempted by that new shiny piece of gear that is possibly out of our budget. Now, I am talking about finances and photography. What I advise everyone is that you never go into debt to buy gear. I suggest that you really maximize your gear until you find that it's holding you back either creatively or technically. Now, what does that mean? Well, almost daily I get questions, Mark, should I upgrade to such and such? Should I buy this lens? Should I do this? Well, the answer is, have you maxed out that current gear, that current lens, or that current camera to the point where, you know what, this tool is not serving me? If the answer is no, but you just feel, like I feel this as well often, I really want to buy something. I feel like I'm in the mood to buy something. Well, make sure that before you upgrade, unless you have the budget for it, then that's fine. But if you are wanting to make photography a business, don't go into debt and don't upgrade until that piece of gear is not serving you. If that lens is not as sharp and you need sharpness, then definitely. If that camera is not fast enough because you're into sports photography, then of course you're going to upgrade. But I really want you all not to be under that stress and strain of being out of pocket and way beyond budget just because your friend bought the new Canon so-and-so or the Nikon so-and-so. You can actually create amazing photos with the gear that you have until the time comes when you're ready to upgrade because you're being held back. That's my big tip for today, and I wish all of you well, and really keep having fun with photography. Take a picture every day, just like your vitamins or going to the gym. All the best to everybody. Thank you, Raymond. Talk soon.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma O'Brien. I'm a specialist dog photographer, and I'm also a coach to other photographers and creatives. Congratulations, Raymond, on your 200th podcast episode. That is really quite impressive. Raymond asked me to share some words of wisdom with you today, and I think the one thing I will say is that it's so important to follow your creative ideas that you have and to make work that you love, and work that brings you joy without worrying about what other people think, and to be brave enough to share it. I have had huge amounts of success with personal projects that I put together just because I wanted to, just because it felt like a good idea to me, and I shared them, and one of them actually in fact went viral, which is what I talked about in my podcast with Raymond. So important to follow your heart and your passion with your creative work. And
my name is Martin Moore. I am a commercial and lifestyle photographer here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've always wanted to be a commercial photographer. I've always wanted to do photography for a living. And the one thing that I wish I had learned when I first started off doing photography was how important and how vital personal branding would be to my success. Getting out there when I first started and learning how to shoot, learning the fundamentals of photography, experimenting, that was great. But I also wish I had spent a little bit more time learning how to personally brand myself in the business that I ultimately wanted to grow. Nike may have done it best with their Just Do It campaign. They told people that you didn't have to be an athlete to get into shape or tackle an obstacle. If there was something that you wanted to do, just do it. And that message really resonated with people. They no longer wanted a pair of shoes, they wanted a pair of Nikes. And so when I talk about personal branding, I often use that analogy because you want to do the same thing with your business. You want to get people to hire you because you're you. You would think that your photos would be enough and they would speak for themselves, but unfortunately in 2020, that's not the case. There's a million other people out there trying to do the same thing as you, that want the same clients as you, and so you need to do things that kind of separate yourself from everybody else. And that's where personal branding comes into play. And when I talk about personal branding, I don't mean a website or a business card. I'm talking about sharing all the things about you, your creative process, what you believe, your life, that have nothing to do with photography. And when you start sharing those things and you become something bigger than your photos, that's when people are going to start thinking about you when they get married, or when the owner of a restaurant needs their menu shot, or our new hotel needs their lobby shot. They're going to think of you first. And so if there's one piece of advice that I would give myself, and I would give you guys if you're interested in being a photographer professionally, would be to spend some time trying to develop your personal brand, figure out what that is, because I think that's going to be one of the most advantageous things for your success that I could think of next to actually shooting pictures. So I hope that helps.
Hi, I'm Philadelphia dance photographer Emily Brunner, and I'm really excited to be on this journey of photography with you, learning more about photography every day and creating things that we love with our cameras. I've learned a lot about photography over the years, and I'm sure you have too. Things like aperture and shutter speed and composition and lighting. But today I just wanted to encourage you that the next time you get an idea and then that idea is followed up with a little bit of a nervous feeling, which is then followed up by a scary feeling, that the next time that happens, I want you to just take a minute and to listen to that scary feeling, that fear that you feel. It's telling you that your idea is important, and it's telling you that you have a good goal for yourself. That fear is there to guide you, that you need to actually keep moving through it, and you need to do the thing that you're afraid of, even though you're afraid of it. That fear is not a bad thing, and in fact, it's a good thing. So the next time that happens to you, that you get an idea and then it turns into a scary idea, that I want you to just keep going, and I want you to do it and make yourself keep going through the fear and create that beautiful thing it is that you have inside you, that you are just waiting to share with the world.
Hey, my name is Matt Druin, and I am an Atlanta-based wedding and portrait photographer. And when Raymond first asked me for some wisdom or some advice that I wish that I would have known as a beginning photographer, I literally had no clue what to tell him. So I sat down the last couple of days, and I've come up with my top 3 that I think have been the most important and influential for me as a photographer and a business owner. So they're in no particular order, but number 1 is to always be authentic and to avoid trends. Number 2 would be is if you want to do this as a business, then really spend a lot of time learning the business side of photography, because that, I think, is going to be the most important thing if you want to succeed. And the last one, and probably the most critical one as a beginning photographer, is to always chase knowledge and the amount of time you spend shooting and not the gear. It's super easy to get wrapped up in gear, especially when you first start. But yeah, so those are my top 3. Raymond, congratulations, dude, on 200. That is seriously amazing. That's a lot of work, and the photography industry thanks you. But that's it. Take care, guys. Stay healthy and safe out there, and have fun shooting. Later.
Hi, my name is Mary Fisk-Taylor, and I'm a portrait and wedding photographer in Richmond, Virginia. And I'm happy to have been a guest on this great podcast, and happy to share a little bit of a message today. For right at 26 years, we've had a portrait studio here in Richmond, Virginia. I have a business partner named Jamie Hayes, and it's been a great career and something I'm very happy about. You know, I was asked to kind of give a piece of advice maybe going back to my 25 years ago, what I wish I knew then. And there's so many great things and so many great lessons, but something that really came into our life in the past 5 years has been not just valuing our work and valuing what we do and making sure we're paying ourselves and compensating for our work and what we do, but to take our profit first. And that, more than anything, during this pandemic that we've been going through and during different things, has changed the way I think about my business, and it's taken so much worry. So if you're not familiar, highly recommend Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First, but take your profit first. It's not an event. It shouldn't come last. It should come first. And I wish I'd known that 25 years ago, and I may be in a very different place, but I'm glad it's something that we practice now and have for the past 5 years, and certainly will continue to. So for all small business owners out there, I think that's the best advice I've ever gotten. So take your profit first and make sure you're taking care of yourself and rewarding yourself. And getting paid what you deserve, as well as getting that profit first. But congratulations on your 200th episode. You guys stay well, and thanks for having me on.
Hi Raymond and everyone at the Beginner Photography Podcast. This is Nick Church from Nick Church Photography, based in the UK. I'm a wedding photographer and also an educator, so I run workshops both online and from my studio here, alongside shooting lots of weddings, unless there's a global pandemic, and then I don't do much at all. So I thought I'd share with you a couple of things that I found really important and useful on my journey into professional photography. There are also things that people from workshops have fed back as being really useful too, so hopefully there'll be good things to share. The first one is all about gear acquisition syndrome. And I firmly believe that we should only update our kit, our lens or cameras when we've reached the limits of our current models. How do we know if we've reached the limit of the model? If you don't know, then you really haven't, and it's time to keep learning and practicing, and that's always really, really useful things to do. Only when we understand what those limits are and how we've reached up against them, and also what problem we've got that will be solved by the new thing, the new lens, the new camera, then it's the time to decide if it's worth upgrading to that. Now that fact alone will not only push our learning along, but it will really save us a lot of money. It will save us buying the wrong thing. It will save us trying to fix other problems in our photography with new gear. And that's a really useful thing, I think. The other one is for people that are planning a move into commercial photography, which I know plenty of people in the group are doing, and I think it's fascinating to watch their journey as well. And it's all about your passion. It's finding that reason why you do what you do. So why is it that you get out of bed? What makes you get out of bed and want to grab your camera and go and take photos? What's that passionate reason why you do that? The reason it's so important is because that's the thing that you need to communicate to your clients to get them to book you. Okay, so it's a well-known fact that people buy not what you do, but why you do it. All right, now it's a bit depressing because we want them to buy our fantastic photography, but they don't. People will buy the reason why you do it, and that needs to come across when you're talking to people via email, via message, or face to face. You want to communicate that point. The work needs to be good enough, for sure. It needs to be good enough, but it's that passion that will get you your clients. Those photographers we've seen, the professional photographers that are doing really well, and we look at their work and we'll think, well, how are they doing so well? It's okay, but it's not brilliant. It's because you usually find they're really good at communicating what their passion is, and people buy it. All right. So hopefully that's useful, and look forward to catching up with you all soon. All right. Cheers. Bye.
Hey, listeners of the Beginner Photography Podcast, Sean Brown here, and I'm a high school senior photographer, and Raymond asked me to come on here and give a couple words of wisdom for episode 200. So first off, congrats, Raymond, on episode 200. That's absolutely phenomenal. But the number one thing that I wish that I knew when starting business was it's less about the photos, and it's more about your brand and how you portray your value to your clients. And that's the number one thing that I focus on day in and day out in my business, is making sure that my brand is one that is strong and one that I work continuously to connect with my clients. So really dive into figuring out why you're different in your market, figuring out your why, and communicate this day in and day out. Because as one of my mentors told me, there are a lot of really fantastic photographers that are bad business people, and a lot of okay photographers that are great business people. And it's the great business people that ultimately are able to create these businesses that thrive over time. So wherever you are in your journey, focus on the business, your brand, your why, your differentiating factors. Don't don't be afraid to stand out in the crowd, no matter where you are in your journey. And just super excited to be on here for episode 200. Hope that you guys are all doing fantastic wherever you are in the world. And thank you again for asking me to be on, Raymond.
Hey guys, this is Ashley Marston, and I'm coming to you from Vancouver Island, Canada. And I want to say a big congratulations to the Beginner Photography Podcast and Mr. Raymond Hatfield on their 200th episode. Wow, that's an amazing accomplishment. I have been very lucky to be a guest on 2 of those episodes. 2 out of 200 episodes. That's amazing. Raymond asked if I would give a little piece of advice or encouragement in celebration of this incredible milestone. And so I will. So here goes. What I want to share with you all is that I know that a lot of you are trying to pick up your cameras every day and shoot not only your clients, but the things that are going on around you. And what I just want to remind you, and something to always keep in the back of your mind, is that you never know what detail in your photographs, whether they're your personal photographs or the photographs that you take for your clients, you never know what detail in a photograph is going to resonate with them, with you, with your children. You never know what detail, something that is seemingly insignificant, will bring back a memory or a feeling. And so even though some things that you photograph may seem unsightly, I always bring it back to my worn out moccasin slippers or, the cluttered fridge. Those are the details that your children will resonate with later on in life. So photograph those things. Don't forget to do that. So that's something that I always have to think about. So thank you, Raymond, for inviting me on to share a little bit with your listeners, and congratulations one more time. Yay!
Hello, Raymond. Cris Duncan here. First of all, congratulations on 200 episodes. That's quite an accomplishment. Well done. Appreciate all you do for the photographic community and just helping people stay on top of their game, get educated, and learn some great things. So just wanted to touch base with you and tell you a few things that I wish I knew if I could go back 20 years to when I started. One would be just do what you do. Don't let anyone else dictate what you do. Your creativity and your art comes from your heart. It shouldn't come from outside influences. That can help you and guide you, but don't let that change who you are. And second is practice the craft. Learn the foundations. So much of it is math and science, and it'll come back. You'll be more creative. You'll be able to create images that you can vision up in your head. You'll be able to recreate something that you maybe see if you practice your craft. Lighting and posing and ratios and all the science of it. Practice that, and there's nothing that will stand in your way. So hope all y'all are doing well. Stay safe and happy creating.
Hello, friends. My name is Chris Orwig. I'm a photographer, I'm an author, and a teacher. I've written 7 books so far, I've created over 5,000 hours of online tutorials. I've got a chance to work for some great brands. I'm a Sony artisan of imagery, and I love what I get to do for a living. So if I were to think back to the beginning when I was just starting out, and if I had any words of wisdom then, which have carried me through this entire journey, I think it's something that one of my mentors and friends said to me, Rodney Smith. Rodney has since passed away, but he was an amazing photographer and even better man. But one of the things that he said was that stillness of hand cannot make up for emptiness of heart. And Rodney was a film photographer exclusively, and so holding your camera still was really important so you wouldn't get camera shake. And there's kind of techniques to that, right? The way you kind of anchor your elbow in your chest there and hold it still and think about shutter speed and whatnot. And basically, he's really, really good at technique. He's one of those photographers that has really mastered the craft. And what he was saying is whatever the technique is, holding your camera still or exposure or composition, it's not enough. And it will never make up for having an empty heart. And the trick to getting really good at photography is to really shoot from your heart versus from your mind. And what that means for me as a portrait photographer is to look at my subjects through the lens of loving kindness, to always look for their hidden strengths, to look past the surface, to realize it's not about how someone looks. That's true when I'm capturing a landscape. It's to really fall in love with the landscape. It's to ask myself, well, how does this landscape make me feel? It's about trying to fill up your frames with some kind of feeling. And what that does is, I think when we operate from that heart space, is we slow down, we become curious, we become a bit more open, we're a little less analytical, and we're a little bit more emotional. And it's not that we need all this crazy emotion in our frames, but we want the viewer to feel something. We want them to feel what we're feeling in the moment. And in order to get them to do that, we have to become aware of our own feelings. So all of that is the inward journey. And so again, kind of summing that up, I think I would go back to that wisdom from Rodney Smith, who said, stillness of hand can never make up for emptiness of heart. All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks so much, Raymond, for having me on the podcast and for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it. Thanks a ton. Yoo-hoo!
Oh, wow. Wow. I just, once again, I'm a bit overwhelmed with the emotion as all of that information just, came from such a place of genuinely trying to help out, and that's not trying to help me out. Every single one of those guests was simply trying to help you out, because they know that you can't get anywhere in photography if it's not for the education of those who came before you. Because if it's not there, then where? So if you have a moment, feel free to tag any of those guests who you saw and just let them know thank you for coming on and sharing that information. If you're listening in the future, find them on their website, shoot them a message, just say, hey, thank you so much for sharing this little piece of information. I got a ton out of it. And if it was from, Mark there in the beginning, who obviously has a lot of crows in his backyard, I kept looking around my office wondering if if the crows were outside, and then that was ridiculous. But, with Mark and even Matt and Nick just talking about the importance of gear and almost how not important it is at the exact same time, to Emma sharing that you should be sharing more. The more vulnerable that you are, the more that you share out in the world, only good things can come from that. And be vulnerable. Let those things out into the world and see what comes back. And then, of course, Emily as well, for sharing. I wrote it down because I thought, wow, this is really poignant. That fear that you feel says that it is important. It says that it is important. I can't tell you how many weddings, still to this day, I show up to weddings with butterflies in my stomach, and that says this is important. What you're about to do today is going to be one of the most important things in somebody else's life. And that, obviously, as Emily said, continue to pursue that. So again, for everybody who shared that information, and Chris, oh my gosh, Chris Orwig for sharing, fill up your frame with feeling. Fill up your frame with feeling. If you didn't take anything away from those guests, then you just simply weren't paying attention. You simply were not paying attention. I would love to know what your biggest takeaway was. I see a bunch of comments here on Facebook Live, but if you are listening in the future, leave a comment, come into the Facebook group and join us, and just share what your biggest takeaway was, because honestly, a ton of great information there. So one last time, I want to thank all of the past guests who participated and shared their insight, and I want to thank all past guests as well. There wasn't everybody on there, but without them, this podcast would just be, it would be nothing. It would be a guy alone in his room talking to strangers over the internet. Like that's all that this would be. That's all that this would be. That's it. And that is not interesting. So again, to all of the past guests, thank you. Thank you. And I also want to just take a moment to thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for being rock stars and being kind to each other in the Facebook group. That's rare on the internet, in circles of other photographers. Thank you for the almost 150 iTunes reviews. Thank you for your support, and thank you for just being you. You all rock, and you are all my personal heroes. You are all personal heroes of mine for pursuing what inspires you and what fuels your creativity, despite, what others may have said about, photography being saturated or whatever else they say. You stick with it because it simply makes you happy. So thank you. Keep it up. Keep it up. And with your help, we are going to make it another 200 episodes. So thank you again for joining me this week and making tonight a pretty special occasion. I can't tell you how I'm feeling right now. I'm just truly overwhelmed with emotion and being here and seeing all of your comments and seeing all of your faces as well has been pretty special. So until episode 400, I want you all to make do. I want you to make more. I want you to do more. And I want you to keep making do with what you got, because each and every one of you have proved that it is better than you think. So that's it. Until next week, I'll see you then. Stay safe.
Thank you for listening to the Beginner Photography Podcast. If you enjoy the show, consider leaving a review in iTunes. Keep shooting, and we'll see you next week.